Going live. We're going live. Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Sparks from the Grant Sparks Show, and it is a Monday morning, and it is beautiful. And today we're absolutely covering the fact that people do not follow potential. They follow commitment. Hear that again for today's show. People do not follow potential, charisma, plans, strategies. Sometimes they're not even following vision. People are following commitment. Today, we're going to look at the first step of leadership. And it's not public speaking skills. It's not charisma. It's not your good looks. It's not your grid on your Instagram. It's some of all of this, but what it amounts to is people are assessing your level of commitment. Are you committed? That's what people want to know. Let's check our microphone. Boom, doing good there. Because people have been worn out with false promises from so many places that they will tell you no 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. They will tell you no a handful of times because they're now assessing, and the bar is going up in them. Is this person who's claiming to lead me committed? Are you committed? That is what we're talking about today. And the first step in the light framework. Last week, we covered the light framework of those who were feeling like they were called to lead, but feel like they've been hiding in a cave and haven't come out, and they are now feeling this new urge to lead. They're getting a sense that society needs it, that people need that help, that people need something to follow and cling to. And you might have been born a leader, and you might have been exhibiting those skills. And last week, we talked about the light framework of how you can bring yourself back into a place of leading people. And I recommend you go watch that episode. But some of you came back to me and started asking more about this. And more and more of you were focused on what are the second, third, fourth steps of leadership. How do I get people going? How do I get people to follow my thing? How do I get people to sign up for my event? How do I get people to buy my book? And I said, whoa. Did you not hear the light framework and the first step of the light framework? It was lead first. And that leading first was leading yourself first. So today we're actually going to dive more into leading yourself first and how to make the changes. Are we talking about quantum leaping? Maybe a little bit. Are we talking about journaling, changing the way you're thinking and approaching the stuff you're leading? Absolutely, we're talking about that. So before we do anything, you know where we're starting. Morning cup of gratitude. Grab a cup of coffee, grab tea, and tag someone who you know they've called to lead. They're called to lead. Maybe it's you. They're called to lead and they're holding back for some reason. Tag them, share them, comment. I'm holding back. Grant, unlock me. Say it in the comments on TikTok. Say it in the comments on Twitch. I want to shout you out. And we're going to actually lift you up and equip you with how to lead yourself first in a way that attracts other people. We'll cover the other steps. And if you want to get the other steps right away, go watch the show from last week, Light Framework. I covered all of these steps at the highest level. Today, we're diving deeper into how to lead yourself first. Let's talk about it. And let's first talk about what we're grateful for. Post in the comments what you're grateful for. Post in the comments what you're grateful for, because if you cannot express what you are grateful for, you are emotionally and psychologically constipated. You're stuck. If you cannot say when you're given the opportunity, hey, what are you grateful for? I know your brain is in the wrong gear to expand. Because to walk into the next level of what you need to be, to achieve the things you say you want to achieve, you have to become something new. And if that something new doesn't take the opportunity to express gratitude, you are missing out. So right here, right now, this is a moment for you. Post in the comments, Grant, I'm grateful for X today. And let me shout you out. And that is your first symbolic gesture. In the church, we used to call it a prophetic gesture towards saying, this is what I am grateful for today. And that begins to unlock a whole series of things in your heart so that you can become ready to see and receive, but also act at that next level. Because what they call quantum leaping, what they call maturing, what they call healing, all of that simply means you start acting in the vein of who you are trying to be. You don't just try to get the rewards. You don't just try to go to on the trips that other people are going on and have all the things that they have. You actually go out and try to do what is necessary to do. You become that person. Whether it's fitness and health, whether it's relationships, you try to become that person first. And that's what starts with gratitude. So take a second, tell me what you're grateful for, and I'm going to start. I am grateful this morning. I'm gratitude, morning cup of gratitude here. I'm grateful this morning. A, for Billy Weigel on Instagram. Good morning, Billy. I hope you're doing good. He says, good morning. Thankful for connecting with people who have introduced me to new types of investments. Uh-oh. We're going to have to hear about new types of investments. Let's actually come on the show, Billy. It's going to be like the only way we finally get together again. And let's hear about investing. We'll put you with our business broker, Adam, and a bunch of these other guys who are getting into new forms of investments. Let's talk about that. I'm grateful for the quiet plodders, these people who are plodding along one step at a time, who execute things one step at a time, who don't need applause to keep going. You are the blueprint. You are the powerhouse. You're the strong one. You're the ones, the unseen ones who are persistent. William Carey was the founder of Modern Missions, and he had flaws, hands down. Y'all know I'm not even part of the church anymore, but there's still good lessons from some of these people. William Carey in the 1800s was a self-educated cultural anthropologist. He was very young, started as a cobbler, self-educated, didn't go to school at all, but ended up teaching himself Greek, Italian, Hindi, Dutch, French, was not a rich man, was not educated beyond basic reading and writing, was a cobbler. That means he worked on shoes. But he was convicted. He was committed that he could make a positive impact in other people's lives. So he followed this path from while he was a cobbler, educating himself, worked himself up into the Baptist seminary, worked himself up into being a Baptist missionary to India, was kicked out of the Church of England as a dissenter to the Church of England's beliefs that king was royalty, was eventually kicked out of the Baptist Missionary Coalition in the British colonies in India because he really believed in empowering people. He was not allowed to be a practicing Baptist missionary in the British colonies in India. So he committed to his goal, went and joined the Dutch settlement and began to do his missionary teaching in the Dutch settlement because he was committed. When asked what his genius was, he said, my only genius is my plodding commitment. I plod along, one foot in front of the other, and I just stay on track with what I'm trying to do. And it made for a very wild existence in hindsight, but during the time, it was very troublesome. So though he was uneducated, he was able to ultimately establish people joining his following in order to build the Serampore College and University in Serampore, India. Again, this was after he was kicked out of the British colony. He was still able to set up his vision, not because it was always his plan to set up the Serampore College University. His plan was to impact people. His goal was to impact people. His plans were to do it here and there, and the plans kept changing. But people kept following his commitment. They kept sowing into him because they realized this guy's committed. He used to say this: expect great things from God and the divine, therefore attempt great things for God and the divine. Are you attempting great things? Are you attempting to impact people's lives in a positive way? I'm grateful for you today. This is my morning cup of gratitude to you. Before we break down L in the light framework, we're going to break down just L today and leading yourself first. Before we do that, that is what I am grateful for. The plotters, the persistent ones, the ones who have faced all obstacles, known and unknown, to achieve more for their goals, their ultimate vision. There's a great quote out there: write your goals in stone and your plans in sand. The plotters are the ones who accept the fact that plans change. But the thing coming out of their mouth always is the goal that they are committed to. Whether they're doing it under one form or another, they're always making their way on their goal. What are you grateful for? I want to hear in the comments. Tell me in the comments. I see you on Facebook. I see you on Instagram. I see you on TikTok. Tell me what you're grateful for so I can shout out for you there. Let's talk about L and the light framework and what you can do to actually start leading yourself first. You see, as we discussed last week, the problem is this. We see what's going on in society. Everything's accelerating. We've covered this. Social media is speeding things up. People's attention spans are less. But let me just summarize this like this. People are overwhelmed, so overwhelmed, and they are starting to increase their filter of who they're listening to and why. And the filter is basically this: I will follow a leader if they are committed to a direction. Because people, they're so tired, they want to be a part of a world-changing movement, whether it's the church, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a political movement, whether even it's good for them or not, doesn't matter nearly as much at all as whether or not there's commitment. Here's why. People are used to the transience of things now. They're used to things falling off. They're used to the revolving door of society. Oh, I saw an ad and this guy was promising big things if I bought his course on Instagram. Oh, I was listening to this political person and they were down to stand up to tyranny up until they didn't have any followers. They were only so committed. They were basically committed for the clicks. This one musician started producing music and just stopped. And I do love that one song they produced, but I can't follow them anymore because they're not sticking to their thing. We're used to the transience of it. We're used to the transience of our jobs. They're only committed to me so far, so I'm only committed to them. They're going to fire me next week. I've only been at the job 18 months. The turnover is ridiculous. There's no loyalty. And this is the filter through which people are choosing who to follow. Are they committed as they say? And I said this earlier in today's show. People will absolutely tell you no 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. They'll tell you no because they are waiting to see if you are going to be committed. They're excited about what you're doing. They believe in this movement that needs to happen, but they believe if it's just on them showing up and not the leaders showing up, they're already exhausted thinking about it. So the problem is this transience paradigm. And the only thing that humans can do anymore that AI and robotics can't do very soon are 2 things. And one of them's temporary. Number 1, the trades can currently only be done by humans. And so there's this mass move away from white collar work and towards trades work. But that's going to change as soon as robotics are in there, right? And then as soon as like devices help us, whatever. The other thing is leadership. The only thing, and you will see this, I am predicting this. This is a prophetic prediction, and I say that tongue in cheek. Here's my prediction. You're going to see new spiritual movements and a new religion pop up in the coming years because people are so exhausted with keeping up with what has been, and there's so many societal changes. And they don't know where to get faith from. They don't know what to engage in. They have all the knowledge in the world. They have all the conveniences they could possibly ask for, but they are still not fulfilled. They've traveled to all the Instagram locations. They are still not fulfilled. They follow all of the gurus, and they're just getting tired that they're not even trying to go on these adventures anymore. They're just accepting that it's never for them, and their heart is getting broken. So not only is society not have a place for people, the current religions are letting them down for a lot of reasons. The current political parties are letting people down. You will see a new religion pop up in the coming years and a new faith movement that will gain followers and momentum. And I'm predicting this because this is the scenario in which you as a leader of your business, you as a leader of your local community, you as a leader of your local church, you as a leader of whatever movement you think is good and right in the world, your nonprofit, whatever it is, the time is right now to step out as a leader. The time is right now to step up as a leader. This is the scenario we find ourselves in, and this is why I'm harping on this so much, because you are a leader, and if you're watching this right now, I predict that you are not stepping into your full calling as a leader. I predict that you are maybe dabbling. You're putting your toe in the water. But I believe you have a bigger calling on your life, and it is to lead in your thing, in your vein with your community. And if you are not doing this, if you are not taking action today, you are missing your calling. So here's how I believe you can lead yourself first. And you can't just show up. You can't just show up. And I think if you've been a leader, you know this. I think if you have any history as a leader and you feel called, but you're resisting, you're probably resisting because you know the price. You know the responsibility. You know the weight on your shoulders. I get it. It's present. It's real. And so you hold back. And so what we covered in the LIGHT framework, L-I-G-H-T, we covered that in the framework last week. We talked about how to overcome this, how to work on yourself first so that you are ready, and then stepping out and how that will gain momentum in a way that it will come and flow. Once you begin, it will flow. But today we're going to focus just on the first one, step 1, L. And this is the only one we're going to focus on. The first thing you need to cultivate inside of yourself and remind yourself of, and I know you already know this, is choice over conditions. Leaders are not condition driven. They're choice driven. Waiting for the perfect time to step into your calling is a trap. Leaders decide, then build from there. Some people call market leaders people that take a temperature from the niche. What are the demographics saying? What are the data saying? Listen, those are good skills, but you're a follower. That's okay. You need someone to bring that information to you. Someone has to look at the demographics and say, this is what the demographics want. This is what the niche wants. This is the words that trigger them. Sure, we got to know that. But a leader takes all that data in and then pushes it a little to the side and says, I still make decisions based on what's good and right inside of us. Acknowledging all the data, but not following it. Acknowledging the voices of others, but not following it. You are a follower if you read the demographics and then you reframe everything just for the clicks. There's a place for that. That's good marketing, but it's not leadership. Leadership has an intrinsic understanding. It takes all that in to gain an understanding. But from that understanding, it comes up with its own strategy that is groundbreaking, that one they can commit to. Leaders decide and build from there. Waiting for the perfect timing, waiting for the perfect framing, waiting for the perfect environment before you take big action. Waiting for your perfect understanding before you take big action is a mistake. And it's not leadership. Leaders are not condition driven. Leaders are choice driven. When someone says the market's up, the market's down, the leader said, okay, well, we'll change our plans, but we're not going to change our goal. How do we need to adjust the goal or the plans? How do we need to adjust the plans? Because we're still after the goal. You heard that phrase, write your goals in stone and your plans in sand. The market just affects the plans, how we execute it. But the goal has not changed. What is the goal? For State of the Spark, it's igniting lives of explosive significance, launching 10,000 creators as leaders in their field with the tools and training they need. And that's what we do. We've done that as a website company. We've done it as a marketing company. We've done it as a coaching company. We've done it by launching apps. We've done it by writing books. We're still experimenting with our plans, but the goal has not changed. Should we do it under this brand or that brand or this logo? Listen, it kind of doesn't matter. Yeah, we got to have good plans. We need to get traction, but the goal hasn't changed. Leaders, when I made a decision to launch State of the Spark as a training company, that was a commitment. It has gone left and right, up, down. It has been dead, and we've had to revive it. It's been thriving. We've been doing good. It's gone through every iteration, and people are like, well, why don't you quit? That's affecting your life, your relationships, your financial status, your marital status, your fitness status. It's affecting everything. I know. I made a commitment. I don't give a shit. What's the thing you have decided irrevocably to follow? The plans might change. That's okay. What is your living, breathing goal? And when people say, what are you doing? You don't tell them the plans. People say, well, I don't like saying one thing and then saying another. Then tell them the goal. When you tell people your plans, you are setting yourself up for judgment, way more judgment than you would if you just shared your goal, because you might have to change your plans. And when your plans change, then you have to tell people I'm doing something else. I was building a website company. Now I'm building a coaching company. Now I'm writing books. Now I'm traveling. Grant, I don't think you're focused at all. You know what? You're right, because I've been messaging the wrong thing. The goal is igniting lives of explosive significance, launching 10,000 creators as leaders in their field through the tools and training they need. Boom. And everything can change after that. Everything can change after that. But I will be consistent in that commitment, and that causes people to rally around that. So here's the action I want you to take. If you have become accustomed to being condition driven as opposed to choice driven. Condition driven says, I don't care what's going on, or I don't care what I want. The market's doing this and it's going to affect me. Choice driven says, I don't care what the market's doing. I'm still going to pursue this avenue one way or another. I might have to pick up a part-time job. I might have to do something in the meantime. But ultimately, I have made a choice and I'm going to follow that choice to its end, or I'm going to make a new choice. But I am not going to easily waver at all. So here's the action. Here's your action. Write down what you're choosing right now. Write down what you're choosing, the choice you have made. Write it down. No matter the conditions, write down what you're choosing and then write down the conditions that could cause you to waver. The market changes, relationship changes, monetary changes. Whatever those changes are, write them down, but still write below it, but I will still choose this. Write down what you're choosing. Write down what you're choosing, and then write down the obstacles you might face so that you can be prepared for them. If you can be prepared for the obstacles and you wrote down, and you'll be reminded when those obstacles occur, when the market changes, you can see that. Thanks, Romeo. I appreciate the gift, dude. Thank you so much. When the conditions change or the market gets bad and you suddenly think, oh my gosh, I don't know if we're going to make it. I don't know if we should keep going. When you face that moment, you'll be reminded. You'll be reminded, I wrote this down before and I made a commitment then, even thinking about this. I predicted this very thing. Romeo, what's your goal today? I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that, Lightning. I really appreciate that. Drop in the comments what your big goal is today and how you are becoming a leader. Let me know. So the first character trait you need to be cultivating in private, you need to be writing down, and this is the action for it. You need to be choice-driven, not condition-driven, and you need to write down the goal you're choosing and the obstacles you will face and how you will still choose your goal. And if you cannot say that with certainty, you don't have a commitment yet. You have a wish. It's just a wish. Irrevocable commitments are what people follow. Let's talk about the second trait. The second trait you need to be cultivating is this. You need to become single-minded. How do you become single-minded? Split focus is a slow death for your calling. Hear me on that. I'll say that again. Split focus is a slow death for your calling. You do not need 5 goals this week. You need one goal. One burning, fiery, red-hot center of the thing you are focused on this week. Now, that can have multiple objectives, but only one of them is the goal. You can have other plans. I got 5 plans this week. I'm going to try to do this, this, and this, but they build into this goal so that when you wake up and you say, what am I doing this week? Well, I got all these goals. No, you don't. You have one goal. You wrote that goal. Today, to achieve my one goal, I need to accomplish this. These are objectives. It's goals, objectives, strategies, plans, and actions, right? So you have objectives, but those aren't your goals. You have one goal. And it should be something that if you accomplish it, it moves your bigger goal forward. And that way you're not confused. When you talk to your employees, when you talk to your volunteers, when you talk to those people who are investing in your life, and they say, what's your goal this week? You don't list off 5 things. They're going to get a sense that you're all over the place. You're going to list one thing. And you're going to say, I'm going to try to achieve this one thing. And in order to do that, here are my objectives. Here are my milestones. That's leadership. So you are going to cultivate this week a single-mindedness where you are just going to be basically talking about one thing to get your followers, your employees, your potential clients, people to follow you. You are going to do that by having a single focal point, a single goal. But for this week, you don't need 5 goals. You need one. And they're going to break it down. So here's what I want you to do. Choose one goal that best reflects your mission this week. Choose one goal this week that builds into your macro goal. And this is your week's goal. And it needs to be on the calendar. You need to circle it. You need to put it on the calendar or it won't exist. Boom. Romeo says, I started somewhere, if you know, in your house. Whoa, what is that? Hold on, let's get rid of that. I started somewhere, if you know, in your house as a cleaner, now working in the hospital, aiming leadership. Not really sure what he's saying there entirely, but I really appreciate you sharing. It sounds like he started as a house cleaner, Romeo, and he stayed focused, and now he's in hospitality or in the hospital in leadership. That's phenomenal, Romeo. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. It was on TikTok. So your one goal this week, I want you to write down that one goal that reflects your mission and post it somewhere, circle it. You can break it down into smaller steps. Those aren't goals. Those are steps. Those are milestones. and you're going to break that sucker down. Remember, when you are scattered, people know it. When you're single-minded, people rally. How do you know if you're focused enough, if you're single-minded enough, if people rally? If when you pitch your event, people don't just dabble, they sign up. If you launch your book, people don't just dabble and say, oh, maybe. They actually buy the book. If you present your business, they actually hire or share your business with someone else. If they take action and rally around you, if you're a nonprofit, they show up to your 5K or donate. If you're a church, they show up to your services and invite other people. They rally. That's how you know if you're focused enough. And if you consider yourself a leader and that's not happening, you are not focused enough. It's not the algorithm. It's not it's the marketing. People don't know what you do. But more likely than not, it's that you're not single-minded enough. Take that, and that's hard. I'm talking to myself here. That when I put my thing out there and they go, that's really cool, but they don't do anything with it. That's really awesome, but they don't sign up. Oh my God, I really believe in you, but they don't buy it. They don't buy the tickets to the trip. I have to be honest with myself. I have to look at myself in the mirror. And that's what today's lesson is as a leader. Your first stop is to look in the mirror. And that first stop tells me I must not be focused enough. I must not be single-minded enough because people aren't signing up to that thing or anything. Granted, it sounds really good on paper, but I'm just not there. So the second thing is this: be single-minded. The third thing is this: do right. Feel later. Feelings are great, but they're not reliable for leadership. Feelings are valid, but they're not how people follow or lead. People follow with emotions, with their feelings, but it's not how you lead people. They are not following your emotions. They're following your commitment. So this idea of doing right is do the right thing no matter how you feel. Granted, I don't feel like it. I'm tired. Granted, I don't feel like it. Maybe I don't feel like it's the right thing to do. I'm processing it. My intuition's telling me something different. Nope, you're just scared. You're blaming it on your intuition, but you're just afraid. You're blaming it on your intuition and telling me it's some spiritual divine thing, but you're backing down and growing cowardly. Believe me, I know. I've been that guy. But if I were honest with myself in the mirror, I would realize I was avoiding doing the right thing because my feelings were bigger than my commitment. Do I need to say that again? My feelings were bigger than my commitment. And I got scared. I got cowardly. I did not fulfill my commitment. I have been there. Have you been there? Be honest. We've all been there. So the third thing is this: do the right thing. And excellence begins with doing what's right. People follow commitment and they follow excellence, and excellence and commitment are intertwined because as you're committed to something, you'll become excellent at it. Excellence begins with doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. This is integrity in action. And people can sense lack of integrity. How do you know whether or not people believe that you have the integrity to accomplish the thing you're trying to get them to participate in? How do you know? Because they'll say things to you. Did you lose that thing? Are you sure you're going to stick to it? They'll say it. And then that feedback loop is painful but honest. They will let you know whether or not they believe in you instantly. You'll know. You'll hear things like, well, I don't know, or I'll check it out, or I believe in you, but they won't take action. When you do right consistently, you are building your level of commitment, and people can sense that growing. They can sense that you might be having a tough time, but you stay focused at it. Just like they can sense if you're scattered and not single-minded, they can tell if you're emotionally driven or if you are commitment driven. People can tell. Why? Because we've had to learn how to filter people out. We've had to learn how to filter out fake gurus and fake promises. So we've cultivated the intuition or the sixth sense or the non-physical cues to know whether or not you are committed to something. Here's the action. Choose a leadership action that you have been avoiding, even something small, and do it right now. Pause this. Come back to this or write it down and do it later. But your action on this, and you only have synthesized what I'm saying to you if you take action. The action on this is to choose a leadership action or responsibility that you have been avoiding, write it down, and then take action and do it today, even if it's a small one. You have got to signal to your brain that you are willing to do what you say you would do. You've got to be willing to do that. You've got to be willing to put yourself out there consistently. So choose that small action today that you've been avoiding. And heck, you want more accountability? Post it in the comments. Post it in the comments. Post it in the comments. What have you not been doing that you should have been doing? Post it in the comments and I can hype you. And that's your accountability moment that you are doing the thing you should be doing. So do what's right. Feel your feelings about it later. Too many of you are following your feelings and your intuition. I do believe in intuition. Of course I do. I believe you've been basically using your intuition and your spirit as a scapegoat for your procrastination. It's got a bad reputation. I'm telling you, your spirit and your intuition have a bad reputation because you keep listening to it and therefore bailing on your commitments. Leaders don't do that. This is the thing you're going to work on. You're going to work on this by choosing a leadership action today and taking action on something that you've been procrastinating and avoiding. Is it your taxes? Is it that difficult conversation? Is it that follow-up with a client? Is it that follow-up with the volunteer and the donations? What is it? Is it putting together the 5K for your nonprofit? Is it putting together that next lunch and learn for your trip to Colombia? What is that thing? If you've been procrastinating it, do it. Not when you feel like it, but now because it's the right thing to do. Number 4. Cultivate this inside of yourself as a leader, as you're working on yourself to begin to lead. Cultivate this inside of yourself. Excellence as devotion. Excellence isn't performance. It's worship to your goal, to your divine center, to the things that you say you're passionate about. True leaders do not strive for excellence in order to get recognition. They strive for excellence because it honors the calling. I was rewatching the show The Newsroom with Jeff Daniels. I love the first episode. It moves me to tears because even with all the infighting of the show, of The Newsroom, and even all the little personal dynamics, as soon as news hit, they went professional. They immediately were able to admit where they were wrong. They immediately went to looking for excellence, serving one another. How can I help? What can I do? What do you need? How do I act on it? The Newsroom is a great living parable, living example of what it is to live with excellence, not as performance, not to get recognition, but to honor your calling. This is an aspect of commitment. An aspect of commitment is not just committed to getting it done, and it's not committed to perfection. It's committed to excellence, and excellence and perfection are different things. Excellence and perfectionism are different things. Perfectionism will stall you. The quest for excellence will allow you to experiment, try to get better, try to show up better. Hey, big dog, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Good morning, Becky. My huge girthy king. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, but someone shouted at me to be a huge girthy king. All right, Becky. Thanks so much for that. My God, people will say anything on TikTok, I'm telling you. So excellence as an act of devotion and commitment to your thing. Again, it's not about perfection. It's not about being the best. It's not about getting awards. It's literally about acting on something from your heart center to give it everything you know how to give it. And yes, people will still critique it. Some people will appreciate it. But game recognizes game. Just like the show The Newsroom. Game recognizes game. And when you show up with excellence, not perfection, not always winning, maybe flawed, maybe wrong, but when you show up with professionalism and excellence, game will recognize game and people will rally. And that's a form of commitment. The quote here is excellence isn't performance, it's worship. Excellence isn't performance. It's worship to your divine center. Can you fathom that? What happened? We used to pursue excellence. Again, not perfection. And I don't even necessarily mean expensive high craft. Just doing the best with what you have. Revisit. Here's your action. Revisit one thing you've been avoiding and procrastinating, and now reapproach it with your full heart. Turn off the television shows in the background. Turn off your notifications on your phone. Center yourself on it. Focus on it. Know your system on how you approach a task, whether it's music on or off, whatever it is, the thing you know brings excellence. Reapproach it with your whole heart. Is it phone calls to your clients? Don't just drag. Change your state. I'm so grateful for these clients. Let me call them. Is it raising funds for your nonprofit and it's just so ho-hum asking someone for $5 or $10 donation? Can you go out with someone for coffee or tea and sit with them and get excited again? Can you reapproach this thing with your whole heart? Your whole heart, your full body activity. Can you reapproach the thing you're passionate about this week like it's your gift to the world? Because it is. You giving your excellence as a leader, you clearly communicating what you're trying to achieve and the problems you're overcoming as a team. Reapproaching that with your full heart is your gift to the world, not even necessarily the thing. Gina, my girl, the pet nanny, says starting my social media presence with new business starts today. Now that's a commitment, Gina. I hear you. That's over on Instagram. Gina's stepping up and shouting out her commitment. Something that she might have been procrastinating, might be avoiding. Starting my social media presence with new business starts today. That's a commitment. With your full chest, do you talk with pride about your thing? So the fourth thing you're cultivating as a leader who's leading themselves first. This is all about you. People, the reason we're talking about this on you is that followers sense whether or not you have these traits. Followers want these traits. Hear me on that. Followers want to feel something with their full chest. So do you. Do you feel something with your full chest? They want to have that feeling again. They want to feel inspired again. They want to talk at the top of their lungs about something with passion, and they're looking to you. So do you talk with something at the top of your lungs that you are passionate about? Do you walk in a straight line with single-mindedness? Your followers want to have a single-mindedness. They're so tired of jumping from one thing to the next. They're exhausted of following one person, then another person. They want to just walk in a straight line for a single cause. So they're asking you this question. Are you walking in a straight line for something that you're passionate about? That's why we're talking about any of this. That's why we're starting with the first step of leading yourself. Your followers want to do the right thing regardless of how they feel, but they are so accustomed and rewarded for doing things based on how they feel, not based on their commitment. So when they look to you, they are unconsciously asking this question: do you do the right thing regardless of how you feel? Because I need a role model to show me that. That's why we're talking about these traits, and that's why you have to cultivate it in yourself, because no one will follow someone who is asking them to do something they not only are not willing to do, but haven't done yet themselves. It's not leadership. The fifth trait you have to cultivate for people to follow you: you have to outlast your excuses. Leadership begins when excuses stop coming out of your mouth. Oh my God. Did I say that out loud? Leadership begins when excuses stop coming out of your mouth. Before that moment, you're just another follower. You're passionate, you have vision, you have goals, you have potential. But the moment you stop articulating excuses is the moment you begin to lead. Why do I know this? Because all the followers aren't leading, because they have made and accepted excuses, outside conditions, their emotions on how they feel, their intuition on air quotes, Leadership begins when the excuses end. And believe it or not, it's rare for someone to not have excuses. Most people lead until something gets difficult. Leaders lead through it. When COVID hit, we got on camera and made something happen. When it's thin in the cupboard, when the revenue is low and there's not a lot of cash in the business, I have the difficult conversations, and my clients, my employees, my team, they kind of get sick of me having the difficult conversations. Does it always have to be difficult? No, but we still have to lead our way through it. We're not off the hook just because I feel like it. Because at the end of the day, people only follow people who they believe will outlast their excuses and their own. I'll say that again. People will only follow leaders who the followers believe will outlast their leader's own excuses and the followers' excuses. As a leader, you have to carry the weight of more than just you. You have to overcome your own excuses as a leader and theirs. But how do you overcome other people's excuses? You demonstrate through your own life. How? You make choices, not conditions. You keep going when others quit. That's how you demonstrate it. Here's your action. Identify your most common leadership excuse. Identify your most common leadership excuse and write down what leading anyway would look like. Me and a friend just did this over coffee the other day. We were sitting there talking about some of the challenges they were facing, and you let them talk it out a little bit. But then you start sowing vision. And vision isn't just about vision. Vision is painting a picture of what leading through difficulty would look like. That's what you do. You lead through difficulty. So your action in outlasting the excuses is this: identify your most common leadership excuse and write down what leading anyway would look like. You're basically creating your vision, manifesting in air quotes or whatever you want to call it. You are shaping the game plan of what you're going to do no matter what. What are you doing today? We covered the light framework last week on if you're a leader, and if you're watching this, you're probably a leader who has gotten behind in their leadership. You're probably a leader who loves leading and loves the calling and had huge fruits, but you know the price and it's heavy and you don't want to lead. You're resisting your calling, but you are feeling called. Last week, the last few weeks we've been covering leadership. Last week I gave you the light framework. Go back and watch it. Today we're covering the first one, L, lead first. And these are the quick traits. Number one, choice over conditions. Leaders live choice first, not conditions first. They are choice-driven, not conditions-driven. Number two, be single-minded in your mission. You only have one goal this week. You might have milestones, and they should all contribute to achieving that one goal. But people will sense if you're distracted. They will sense if you're scattered. They will sense also if you are single-minded. How do you know you're single-minded enough? If people are rallying, if people are taking the action you give them. Buy my book, come to this event, come to this book study or Bible study, join us on this trip, and they take action. If they don't, you are not single-minded enough. The third thing, do the right thing right now. Feel your feelings, but feel them later. Your feelings are good. Your feelings might even be accurate, but they are not the dictator of what should occur. Your choices are. So do the right thing. Feel emotions about it later. Number four, excellence as devotion. Excellence is not a performance, it's worship. Excellence is honor to the highest calling, not the pursuit of recognition. When you pursue excellence, it is not for recognition. It is to give honor to the calling. And the fifth thing you need to be cultivating inside of yourself is simply outlasting your excuses. Come to the end of your excuses. And I gave you some actions for those. Why am I talking about this? Society, I am telling you, and I'm calling it, and I prophesied this, I predicted this earlier. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. Hear this on Instagram. Hear this on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube. Hear this on TikTok. I'm predicting it now. New religions will pop up in the next few years. New religions, new political parties, and new movements. They'll all pop up and they'll gain momentum. Why? Because people have nothing left to cling on to. They have no sense of place. And where they're getting a sense of place is movements and something that they want and crave to commit to. And it would be a tragedy if the only things for people to commit to were bad for them and bad for society. But I assume if you're watching this today and you feel called to some form of leadership, I assume that it's to good things. I assume you want good things for people. They want good things for themselves. They just need to be led by you. They just need to be led by you. People don't follow charisma. People don't follow perfection. Not anymore. People follow commitment only. They will tell you no the first 1 to 5 times until you show that you are committed to their success. You show you are committed to their good outcomes. People are going to stop buying courses and stop buying promises and stop buying from gurus until they see commitment in that person. Not just a passing face on an Instagram ad, but they see you delivering your gift to the world time and time and time again. Yes, this applies to infopreneur and coaches and authors. Yes, it applies to business owners. Yes, it applies to cult builders. Yes, it applies to political parties. It doesn't matter where you fit. This is the human nature that will happen. And that starts with leading yourself first, with single-mindedness, with persistence, with a solemn refusal to flinch, and a solid commitment. You want your people to move? They'll move when you move yourself. When you finally tap that place inside of you that's strong, that burns for that next level, that's when people will follow you. Well, Grant, how do I know I'm there? When people are following you. If they're not following you, you haven't tapped it yet, and you haven't tapped it consistently enough. No matter what you do today, remember the mission. Igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.